Remote Desktop Manager has a lot of functionalities that allow you to log or report certain things. So whether that be your entries or the activity going on within the data source through your activity logs, there are many different ways to get information through Remote Desktop Manager. However, sometimes the reports that are already on offer and configured for you within Remote Desktop Manager are not enough. And that's where the custom reports come in. Custom reports are an amazing way that allow you to create an entry and configure a report through the use of PowerShell. Here we have our computers report, which is our custom report created through the use of a Remote Desktop Manager, specifically through PowerShell in this case. If you ever want to create one on your own, simply go to New Entry and go to the Macro Script Tool section, where here you'll find at the bottom Report Custom, where you can double click and create one on your own. In my case, it's already created. However, I'll go through what I did within the entry so that we can better understand how it works. So we'll go to the properties. So we'll notice here that I've named it computers, and currently we have a type called the custom field report. I could easily go to connection list if that's something I want. However, in my case, it's not necessary. I'd like to use the custom field report so that I can have multiple fields since I'm not just creating a connections list. We also have a way of changing the script source. So in my case, I'm using PowerShell, but if ever you wanted to use a linked entry, that could easily be done as well. However, in my case, I'm going to create it directly within the entry itself. Then you'll want to go to your script. So once all of your fields are added in, if you are specifically creating a custom field report, that is, once all of your fields are added in, simply go to script, and then here you'll be able to add all of the information you need. For the purposes of this lesson, I'm just going to use the example script down here because really the goal is just to show you how it works. So once you've added in your script, if you find yourself using parameters, you can click on the parameters tab and then define the name and value of that parameter, as well as figure out how you can reference that parameter within your script by using this information button. I'd also like to add that if you have a PS1 file that you'd like to integrate into this entry rather than having to write the script manually on your own, you could always go to the Open button here and add the PS1 file here. So we'll notice here everything's been added in and it's very easy to do. So now that everything is set up, we have our script written down and our general information is filled in, we can click Update and execute the custom report, which will give us, in my case, all of the names of the connections that we currently have within our vault. So every single one of these is a connection that can be found within this very vault. And if I go ahead, say, for example, all the way up here, I have an ARD that I'd like to look at. Well, I can very simply write an ARD, and there's the same entry from earlier. Another really great thing is the ability to filter through all of the information that we have gained through the custom report. So let's say I'm looking for a specific name within the connections list here. What I can do is click on the top of the name column, which I've already done, and write in, say, AD. Let's say I'm looking for all of the Active Directory uh, connections. Well, here I'll now be able to view all of them. And that's how custom reports work. If you'd like to know more, you can always go to our knowledge base and documentation articles.